evening and welcome to the Evening News for today, Thursday, December 7, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. My heart pains, says President Ali, as 5 servicemen died to survive GDF helicopter crash. Venezuela could face sanctions, travel restrictions, military actions for breaching ICJ order. ExxonMobil expects more global support for Guyana as Venezuela's threats continue. Every movement being tracked as SOUTHCOM conducts aerial sweeps across Guyana, says JAGDEO, and father of 3 succumbs to injuries 13 days after being stabbed. Now for the news in detail. We begin tonight's newscast with the tragic news that 5 soldiers have died and only 2 survived yesterday's helicopter crash within Guyana's jungles. The Ministry of Home Affairs has since announced that the Golden Arrowhead and National Institution flags are to be flown at half-mast until further notice. Here are the details.
Of the 7 servicemen who went missing when the Guyana Defense Force Bell helicopter crash-landed in the interior region on Wednesday, only 2 men survived. The survivors are Corporal Dwayne Jackson and Lieutenant Colonel Andio Crawford. Those who perished are Mike Charles, Michael Shahood, Gary Beaton, Jason Khan, and Sean Welcome. At first light on Thursday, search and rescue teams resumed their operation in search of the 7 men who went missing when contact was lost with the helicopter at around 11:20 on Wednesday. Immediately after contact was lost, search and rescue teams alongside Guyana's special forces were deployed into the deep jungle between Arau and Eterengbang Region 7, Cayuni-Mazaruni. However, bad weather impacted their mission. The GDF helicopter was commanded by military aviators, Lieutenant Colonel Reserve Mike Charles and Lieutenant Colonel Andio Michael Crawford. They had transmitted an emergency locator transmitter signal at about 11:20. On board the flight were other distinguished officers, including retired Brigadier Gary Beaton, Colonel Michael Shahood, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome, Sergeant Jason Khan, and Corporal Dwayne Jackson. The servicemen on the aircraft were heading to visit Guyanese troops near the Venezuelan border. Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Omar Khan, told a news conference on Wednesday evening that the helicopter had landed at Olive Creek to refuel, and shortly after takeoff, signal with the aircraft was lost. President Dr. Irfan Ali, in a statement, expressed his sorrow at the deaths of the men in uniform. He expressed, and I quote, "My heart pains and drowns in sorrow at the tragic loss of some of our finest men in uniform. The scale of this loss to the families, our country, the GDF, and to me personally is immeasurable. My trusted friends and comrades, my brothers, how could this be? You loved your country above and beyond everything." End quote. He went on to express, "I have experienced the love of all of you, and it is ripping me apart. My brothers, I embrace your families as mine, and will do as much as I can to represent all of you in service to country and family. On kneeling knees, I lift all of you and your families up in prayer and faith. I call upon all of us to hold these men, their families, the GDF, and our country in our prayers. Rest in peace, my trusted friends. So many plans we had together. How could this be?" Meanwhile, the Guyana Defense Force in a statement said it is committed to providing unwavering support to the families during this unprecedented time. The force noted that the next phase of the operation involves the extraction from the area, followed by the commencement of an investigation into the incident. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
For blatantly violating the order of the International Court of Justice, Venezuela could face further economic sanctions and travel restrictions imposed by the United Nations Security Council. This is according to Attorney General Anil Nandlal, who revealed that Guyana could also be given military support, as ordered by the UNSC following Venezuela's breach of the World Court Order of December 1 in relation to the border controversy. Trishelle Sobers reports.
The United Nations Security Council UNSC, of which Guyana is a non-permanent member, is responsible for enforcing decisions delivered by the International Court of Justice. On December 1, the World Court ordered that, among other things, Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby Guyana administers and exercises control over that area. However, the country has since violated that order. Guyana has since informed the UNSC of these dangerous developments, and according to the country's Attorney General, Anil Nanlal, there are a number of actions which can be taken.
The UNSC has the power, at the request of the injured state, to take special measures to enforce judgments rendered by the ICJ. The Council has the authority to enforce ICJ decisions, and it can take a range of measures to ensure compliance, including economic sanctions, travel restrictions, and the use of military force. These may include complete or partial interruption of economic relations and of rail, sea, air, postal, telegraphic, radio, and other means of communication, and the severance of diplomatic relations.
Nanlal explained that if those measures prove to be inadequate, stronger interventions can be made.
It may take such action by air, sea, or land forces. It may take such action by air, sea, or land forces as may be necessary to maintain or restore international peace and security. Such action may include demonstrations, blockade, and other operations by air, sea, or land forces of members of the United Nations.
The Attorney General pointed out that the UNSC has had to make interventions in the past.
The oil platform case and the Curfew Channel case, where the United Nations Security Council enforced the ICJ judgments in these two cases.
Meanwhile, the orders of the World Court that had prohibited Venezuela from aggravating its border controversy with Guyana, which it has since flouted, have been sent to the United Nations Security Council by Secretary General Antonio Guterres himself. Trishelle Subbers, Evening News.
The United Nations Security Council is expected to convene a meeting tomorrow to consider Guyana's request on the recent developments taking place in the ongoing border controversy with Venezuela, making it clear that Guyana is engaging all its allies, including the United States, on the threat Venezuela poses to Guyana and the region. President Dr. Irfaan Ali also urged the Biden administration to relook at its current policy of lifting sanctions against the Spanish-speaking country. Berbice tells us more.
During an interview with the U.S.-based news network CNN, Guyanese head of state Irfaan Ali on Wednesday said the hemisphere cannot afford another situation like the one currently occurring in Ukraine, which was invaded by Russia over a year ago. President Ali urged the United States to take Venezuela's threats seriously, possibly even relook at sanctions against Venezuela, which it has eased throughout the years on the condition that the Nicolas Maduro regime allows free and fair elections and releases unjustly held political prisoners.
What he is doing is creating a direct threat to Guyana and working towards creating instability in the region. And I think the U.S. ought to take this into consideration. We expect President Biden administration would look at the behavior of Venezuela in relation to the sanctions themselves.
According to President Ali, Guyana continues to engage the United States Army Southern Command, SOUTHCOM, as well as the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. State Department.
President Lula has given me assurance that Brazil stands strongly with Guyana and that they would not see any reckless behavior by Venezuela. We are working now with SOUTHCOM, the Department of Defense and State Department of the U.S., and hopefully within the next 24 hours, a lot of strong statements and strong communication to Venezuela will be released. We have engaged a number of our allies and friends within the region in relation to defense cooperation. The Department of Defense of the United States and the Guyana Defense Force, they have a very elaborate cooperation pact. They're fully engaged on this matter. We are engaging State Department, we're engaging the White House. The President Lula and myself had conversations. So CELAC, CARICOM, Commonwealth, and the OS, they're all engaged on this matter so that they can weigh in ensuring that Venezuela does not act in a reckless or adventurous manner.
The head of state also appeared on Al Jazeera, where he added that while Guyana is working on ensuring that the region remains a zone of peace, the presence of military resources on the ground is part of precautionary measures.
We want this region to remain a region of peace and stability. That is our foremost concern. That is our priority. We want to ensure that we do all that we can to ensure that this region remains a region of peace and stability. That is why we are advising Venezuela not to act recklessly and in an adventurous manner.
If you want this to remain a region of peace, as you say, why have you put your forces on alert?
So why shouldn't we be in a position to defend what is ours? We are working with our allies in a precautionary manner, to ensure that we keep our people safe and ensure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Guyana.
The head of state condemned Venezuela's trampling on international law and added that Guyana's allies are informed of activities on the ground. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Chief Executive Officer of ExxonMobil, Darren Woods, has commented on the ongoing border controversy between Guyana and Venezuela, wherein the Spanish-speaking country is laying claims to the Essequibo region, where the oil majors' operations are located. Appearing on a CNBC program today, Woods was asked to weigh in on the intensified threats from Venezuela to Guyana's territory and the risk it presents to ExxonMobil's operations, where production stands at approximately 620,000 barrels of oil per day. Here's a look at that interview.
I want to end, though, on something else that kind of has come, maybe not out of the blue for you, but for others, and that's Guyana. I've been there. I've seen your production, how impressive it is. It's an important component of the overall company's production at this point.
Sure.
There's concern that Venezuela is going to try to basically, around this border dispute, invade a certain part of the country, take over a certain part of the country. What are your thoughts about this, and how much risk does it present to ExxonMobil, given the importance that Guyanese production has for your company?
Well, I'd put it in the context of what's been happening now for many, many years. Frankly, before we even started our first production out in Guyana, which is, there's been a border dispute. Venezuela's had the dispute. That is going through the International Court of Justice. There's an arbitration process that's happening. And so it is a matter between nation states and the international community. It's been ongoing. My expectation is that process will be respected. That's certainly what I see.
Guyana has 1 million people. I mean, they can't defend themselves if the Venezuelans decide they want to do something.
I'm not sure Guyana is standing on its own, to tell you the truth. I think, there are a lot of, we've all seen what happens when nation sovereignties are challenged and unilateral actions taken. I think the world and outside community have grown pretty sensitive to that. So my expectation is there's more support, more broad support in the international community to make sure that the right process are followed to resolve this dispute. From our perspective, we know what we need to do in country, develop those resources economically, environmentally responsibly, and do what we've been contracted to do. That's what our organization is focused on.
Vice President Dr. Jagdeo has affirmed that every single movement by Venezuela, especially those at the border regions, is being tracked. Today, the United States Southern Command SOUTHCOM commenced aerial sweeps across the country. Rupa Sinarain reports.
At his weekly press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. Jagdeo expressed that the U.S. military aircraft is conducting sweeps across the country and the Guyana Defense Force will respond where necessary.
We have a U.S. military aircraft flying over our territory. That's part of finding out what's happening. And our Army and our planners will respond accordingly. That's all I'm going to say now. But we don't, we're going to find the the GDF or any politician in Guyana telegraphing this. I can assure you, however, that every single movement
In wake of increased aggression by Venezuela, the vice president also positioned that any attempt to explore for petroleum by Venezuelan state-owned companies in Guyana's territory will be seen as an incursion and in contrary to the ruling of the International Court of Justice. Oil companies operating offshore were asked to pay no heed to the ultimatum issued by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
I want to say to the companies that he is giving an ultimatum to. They should pay no regard to Maduro or his ultimatum. We will defend that territory as sovereign Guyanese territory in which they operate. They're operating legally, lawfully in this territory.
JAGDEO reiterated the government's commitment to pursuing all paths in safeguarding Guyana's territory. However, he cautioned that government will continue to engage its partners in keeping with effective diplomacy measures.
Whatever it takes, we will pursue that path, whatever it takes. And we're going to spare no effort in safeguarding every bit of the territory of this country. What will not happen in this government is that we are going to give a ball-by-ball blow of every meeting that we have, every discussion we have, every phone call we make. That's not going to happen because that's not how you pursue diplomacy. And it seems as though there's a group of people who, in the guise of information sharing, wants us to do that. We're not going to conduct diplomacy, which often is most effective when it's done quietly. We're not going to conduct it in a public manner or from a PR perspective.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
The Caribbean community, CARICOM, is expected to hold an emergency session tomorrow to discuss the latest developments between Venezuela and Guyana in the border controversy over the Essequibo region. CARICOM recently upheld the ruling of the International Court of Justice that Venezuela refrain from any action which would modify the current situation where Guyana exercises control over the Essequibo. However, Venezuela has since defied the World Court's orders and has embarked on a series of actions that threaten Guyana's territorial integrity and peace within the region. CARICOM had posited that Venezuela cannot, by its referendum or otherwise, violate international law. The regional bloc had also insisted that Venezuela complies with international law in all respects and the Charter of the United Nations. CARICOM had further demanded that the Caribbean be respected as a zone of peace and that nothing should be done to disrupt the tranquility of the region. Coming up, over 200 homes in Tiger Bay, Banakari, and Long Creek benefit from solar power program, and Muritaro and Malali residents benefit from safety awareness training. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
Sun or rain? Up or down? No one knows what tomorrow will bring, but with Premier's commercial property insurance, you'll be ready. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier Insurance. Premier insurance coverage.
Shop at John Lewis Styles in December and win 4 Honda Navi motorcycles. Beat the traffic with this sporty, hip and fun bike to ride. Fully automatic with no gears. Just twist the throttle and go. Enter to win with every $5,000 you spend on men's and women's clothing, footwear, watches, fragrances, handbags, luggage and now our home goods department. So visit us on Waterloo Street for a chance to win 4 Honda Navi motorcycles. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Giving you the best Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Hold on to your Santa hats because there's up to $50 million in cash to be won. Activate any data plan and you can be one of 14 winners to join Digicel's Spin to Win game show where you can win millions in cash. Activate a data plan today on the best network and make this Christmas the best one yet. Digicel.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, SOUTHCOM, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Some 13 days after he was stabbed, the construction worker on Wednesday succumbed to his injuries at the New Amsterdam Public Hospital, Region 6. Our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports that the incident stemmed from a $5,000 bet.
Dead is 45-year-old Kern Wilson, a father of three who resided at Pepper Street, Heatburn Village, East Bank, Berbice. The construction worker also operated a bar and a car wash. Wilson was allegedly stabbed on November 24th while manning his business located at Edinburgh Village, also on the east bank of Berbice. According to the man's reputed wife, Rishana Hope, it was at around 21 hours that night that Wilson called her and informed her that he was injured. According to the mother of two of his three children, Wilson and the suspect had a bet where the stake was $5,000.
He said some bet they make about somebody used to work with him, and my father said no, this person never worked with him. So they put a $5,000 some bet, and eventually my father win it, and the guy he won back his money because he vexed that he lose, and he went in the shop and he took the whole box with the money. He didn't take just the $5,000 from the box. He took the whole box with the money, and he had it. So after when he collected, then my father go behind him, he come and see his money in there is more than the $5,000. Then I heard he give him a two tap here on his shoulder, and then if he had the knife in his pocket, the mortar son, he had the knife in his pocket, and he was stabbing him. But the boys that was there thought was coughing. He was coughing him, but this one wasn't coughing, was stabbing until my father said, boy, this boy just now stabbed me. Because he had on a black dress, you couldn't see, you couldn't see if was stabbing or anything was going on. So until he tell them, I got to go to the hospital now. This how come the end of took him to the hospital.
Police subsequently arrested the suspect, Mortimer Sandy. He made his first court appearance on November 28th and was remanded. However, when he returned to court on December 5th, he was granted bail in the sum of $250,000. Following the death of Wilson, Sandy is expected to be charged with a capital offense of murder. According to Hope, from the time Wilson was taken to the hospital, he was housed at the intensive care unit until his passing.
He was stabbed by his abdomen here. 5 different things destroyed. The vena canal, 5 different things, and the doctor said only the one thing that could damage and kill somebody. Kill somebody, but 5 different things. And the surgery took 5 hours straight, you know. When I opened and I checked, it was, you know, they didn't expect, it was like, you know, so intense, you know.
So is it one stab he got?
No, like multiple stab here. He had stab here on his 2 hands, his buttocks, and his back.
Police are awaiting on an autopsy report before proceeding further with the investigations. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Some 203 residents from Tiger Bay in Banakari and neighboring village Long Creek along the Suzuki-Linden Highway are now benefiting from the government's $30,000 per household solar power program. More in this LaWanda McAllister report.
Spreading the distribution of solar panels on Tuesday was Minister Kwame McCoy, holding the portfolio of minister within the office of the Prime Minister with responsibility of public affairs. The exercise was held at the Tiger Bay Bankari Information and Communication Technology Hub and also benefited residents from the neighboring community of Long Creek. During his address to residents, Minister McCoy underscored the government's commitment to providing electricity to all communities, especially those in off-grid areas. He emphasized that the distribution of solar panels aligns with the government's manifesto promise. This initiative, he said, not only marks a significant step towards sustainable energy solutions, but also showcases the government's dedication to fostering community development and enhancing the lives of its citizens. Several residents are optimistic about the positive impact of solar panels on their lives. Ariel Eswick of Long Creek emphasized the potential cost reduction and increased comfort for children.
Before using solar panel, we would either light a flambeau or we would mostly the flambeau because they are not a satellite.
And now, how do you feel about receiving this solar panel? How is it going to help you?
Well, with receiving the solar panel, we will be able to get more electricity to do our work. Plus, when our children have to go to school, they'll be able to at night they can do it, so they don't have to, so they come home, hush and do the work, so that morning they don't get enough time. Sometimes they reach school late.
Reflecting on the educational benefits, Melissa Fumay, a teacher of Long Creek Primary School, expressed gratitude for the solar panels.
It's a great help, you know, because getting up at night, getting the children work, planning for the next day is really helpful. At least the light is more bright and it will not damage your eyes and stuff like that.
In total, 203 households benefited. LaWanda McAllister, The Evening News.
Residents of Upper Demerara villages who often traverse by sea recently benefited from a safety awareness seminar conducted by the Maritime Administration Department. Kamesi Slow tells us more.
Officers from the Maritime Administration, Madrid, recently visited the communities of Moritaro and Mali, situated along the upper reaches of the Demerara River, to conduct a comprehensive awareness session on river navigation and safety. Addressing the residents was Tandai McAllister, Director of Legal Services at Maritime Administration Department.
On river safety and river navigation, and 2, to ensure that our boat operators are properly licensed and legally, and in addition to you knowing the rules of the road at sea, your life is important. Life jackets save lives. And I want to encourage you not to view the life jacket as a token, but to view it as an accessory.
Meanwhile, the Madrid team distributed 100 adult and 25 children life jackets to the residents.
What's your name? Elian? William Ramsendo. There you go. Let's just put on our life jacket for all to see. Right. Let me help you. Let me help you adjust the straps. Right. So you see, we adjust the straps.
Meanwhile, 36 residents of Moritaro and 43 from Malali successfully completed the examinations conducted by the Madrid Safety Division and will be duly certified as captains to operate the Demerara River. Moreover, McAllister reiterated that the government of Guyana is serious about ensuring safety for all Guyanese.
Especially interested in ensuring safety not only on our roadways, safety on our waterways, safety of all the people of this beautiful 83,000 square miles. So, Tishao, I don't know if you want to accept the jackets on behalf of your community. Tishao Hesteke has been in contact with us. He's a very good point person, and you have selected a good man to be your Tishao. So thank you, Tishao, for welcoming us to your community and for ensuring that you do your bid to ensure the safety of lives on the waterways.
The Madrid team also comprised Captain Courtney McDonald, the Director of Maritime Safety, Captain Romain Sutaran, River Navigation Officer, Thalissa Grant McClure, Public Relations Officer, Alex Hines, among others. Kamisi Slow, The Evening News.
On Tuesday, the farmers of Baracara, Region 6, were provided with agricultural implements. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa says the provision is among the many interventions the government is making to boost food production in the community. Find out more in this Trishelle Sobers report.
Among the items provided to the farmers of Baracara are a tractor, plow, pump, and 20 black tanks to store water for farming. During his address to farmers during the handing over exercise on Tuesday, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa disclosed that efforts are being made to develop some 400 acres of farmland for red beans cultivation, as government moves to make Baracara a mass producer of the lucrative crop. He noted that provisions have already been made in his ministry's 2024 budget estimate for the completion of this project.
Our officers within the Ministry of Agriculture, NARI, we want you all to identify the plot, the 400 acres of land. We will work with you all to produce all the red beans coming out, right? Red beans coming out, because that crop is a very lucrative crop.
Minister Mustafa has committed to providing Baracara with all the planting materials needed to boost cultivation in the region, and the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI, will oversee the construction of a nursery for farming.
I want to make a commitment here. I'm trying as much as possible to put in our estimate next year a structure that we can control the water in that canal that we have dug, so that you don't have to pump water in it, right? So you get fresh water from the Kanji Creek into that canal.
Prior to Tuesday's visit, the farmers in Baracara benefited from breeding animals, black giant chicks to develop the poultry sector, and a variety of planting materials and infrastructural upgrades. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
A church in Region 5 last weekend held a health fair in which it sensitized the public about HIV/AIDS and offered services to persons in that regard. Andrew Carmichael tells us more.
Tabernacle of Praise Ministry, which is a church in Rossignol, West Bank, Berbice, Region 5, is involved in various community activities, including the promotion of health and wellness. Many health fairs and medical outreaches are included, and one such activity was held over the weekend. Community Coordinator Dr. Hagar Mohammed, one of the medical doctors who works out of the region, says the annual event is different from most medical outreaches.
Health promotion and teaching you preventative methods, basically screening. For example, we have the different booths. We have the nutrition booths, which advises you on how you should eat, about balanced diet, cut your salt, etc. We also have a breast cancer screening booth. We also have a medication safety booth in terms of how you store your medication in a tightly sealed container. Yesterday we observed World AIDS Day, and the theme for World AIDS Day is Let Communities Lead. So of course we have a booth here sensitizing the public about HIV and what it entails and the services that we have to offer in our region and countrywide.
The region offers HIV counseling and testing and care for persons living with HIV. These include medications such as PrEP and PEP. While PrEP helps prevent HIV infections prior to exposure. PEP helps to treat persons who have been exposed to HIV.
PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, is whenever you have been exposed to risky behavior or someone that you know that is HIV positive and you had unprotected sex with them, you actually have medication that can be used to prevent you from becoming HIV positive. And we also have PrEP, which is preventative medication if you're going to engage in a sexual behavior and you're not going to use protection, which we always advise on protection, of course, but you know, you have persons that might not. We have medication that you can use 72 hours before to prevent you from becoming HIV positive.
Meanwhile, the outreach also facilitated the treatment of other medical infections and provided medical advice for those who visited.
We also have doctors on site giving medical advice and treating, acute infections like a respiratory infection and so on. And we're doing health promotion, informing you on all the services we have available in Region 5. As you know, as you asked about the differences in the services, so we have our health center facilities in Region 5. The health center facilities in Region 5 is your primary healthcare setting. That's where you can go and have a one-on-one and a doctor. That's basically a community doctor. And your chronic diseases, whatever the case might be. We also have our 2 hospitals in the region. So the hospital setting is where you might go in terms of an emergency and so on.
For Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Damara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, December 8, 2023 at 12 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice Bridge is expected to be closed at 13 hours 20 on Friday, December 8, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Lady Jags to face Dominican Republic in Gold Cup prelims and South Africa in firm control after Joseph's 5-wicket haul. Details of these stories in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Factory and dockyard owners, Sylvie's now has in stock the 5000 PSI North Star Heavy Duty Pressure Washer. It delivers industrial strength cleaning power and durability, blasting through the toughest caked-on mud, dirt and debris. Great for prepping concrete surfaces, stripping paint and removing barnacles. Shop now at sylviesonline.com or visit our 31 High and Hatfield Street store. We also deliver. Call or WhatsApp 623-7755 for more info.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digicel. This Christmas, it's all about the best. Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Get half off and a whopping 50 gigs of data when you purchase the Samsung A04 for just $14,000, the Samsung A14 for just $29,000, or the Samsung A24 for just $35,000. That's right, half off and 50 gigs of data. It doesn't get any better than this. So why wait? This Christmas, buy nothing but the best. Offer good while stocks last. Digicel.
Superbet, your best bet. Did you know that you have a chance to win up to $50 million with sport betting? Simply place your bets at www.superbet.gy for your chance to be the next lucky millionaire. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.